Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Racing Hotspot. My name's Devin Postlesny. I'm one of the two hosts on this show. I'm joined by my fantastic co-host, Mr. Jordan Jenkins, who is currently walking across his campus back to his housing unit. So, Jordan, how are you?
I'm been busy, Devin. How about you?
More of the same. More of the same. I know you only have another week to go.
I graduate next Saturday. I graduate next Saturday. My last day of classes was today.
Woo! That's amazing.
Yeah.
Super excited to hear that. Super happy for you. So obviously this week's show, we're talking about Dover, and we're talking about IndyCar, and yeah. So we're gonna try and be somewhat quick on this week's show, just because, unfortunately, I have only a certain amount of time to record. Same with Jordan. So, but let's quickly jump right into this. So we're talking IndyCar, and overall at Indy, they were in a. Hold on. They were in Alabama, I believe. I can't remember the exact name of the track. I know this is super bad.
I was gonna say I kind of forgot they raced this weekend. Forgot they did back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. So see, folks, it's not just me that's wrong here. It was Scott McLaughlin won. And I think, was it Children of Alabama Indy Grand Prix? I want to say it's at Barber Motorsports Park, but I can't remember the exact name of the race course. But either way, Scott McLaughlin with the W. Will Power second. Lingus Lundqvist was third. Felix Rosenqvist fourth. And Alex Palou fifth. Like I said, Jordan, overall a really normal IndyCar race. Some action here and there, but nothing major. Probably one of the, I don't want to say the big talking points that came from this, and I assume you probably saw it on Twitter, the mannequin falling from the pedestrian bridge. And I think IndyCar NBC did a really good job of explaining it, which more or less was, race fans like to have fun. And
someone did not actually jump off the bridge.
Right. Somebody did not actually jump off the bridge. It was a full-on mannequin, and it was a real mannequin. Don't worry. It wasn't like a inflatable mannequin. We'll just say that. So it that's probably one of the biggest talking points to come away from the race weekend. And I know most people are like, really? That doesn't even have to do with the race. But I can tell you that the race itself was, again, a very routine IndyCar race. They went out, they had strategies, and it was a good race overall, but definitely a very normal IndyCar race, if that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense.
So glad to hear IndyCar. They had, as you said, back-to-back weekends. Doesn't really happen often, but overall, really good race. And I know that the next race for them is the Indy Grand Prix or Indianapolis Motor Speedway Grand Prix when they run the road course. I think that's next weekend, which of course is all building up to the Indianapolis 500 at the end of the month, as we are in the month of May 2nd, and May 1st. May 2nd, I was right. And yeah, so welcome to the month of May. It's IndyCar's biggest month of the year, and super excited to see the 500 later this month. That was really it outside of the NASCAR world. At Dover this weekend, we had the Xfinity Series, we had the ARCA Series, and we had the Cup Series. It was. I want to let's go in order here. Let's talk about the ARCA race. And did you see the ARCA race at all?
I did not. I only saw the Xfinity and Cup.
So the ARCA race.
I was slacking this weekend.
Jeez, we switched roles here, folks. So the ARCA race, it was I don't want to say it was a routine ARCA race because it really wasn't. They kept having a hard time keeping the cars from underneath them. They just slipped and slided around the racetrack, and I mean Dover's a tough racetrack to race on, but I think overall it was, just like I said, slip and slide, and we had caution after caution after caution, a couple red flags as well, and overall competitive race, good action, but definitely was one of those things where it was just like, car came out from underneath them, single car spin, caution.
Right.
So, overall, like I said, good race. I hope I'm blanking on the driver's name, but she slid off of turn 4 and hit the inside wall, got out, and was favoring her ankle. So I hope she's okay. I'm blanking on her name. I want to say
Tony Bradinger.
I was gonna say Tony. Yeah. So she was getting carted off the racetrack, ankle hurt. Hopefully she's okay. I didn't catch any updates from her or about her, but like I said, hope she's doing okay. But like I said, overall good competitive race. Just slip and slide, and car comes out from underneath you, and around you go, and things like that. Let's talk about Xfinity. Now, I'll admit I caught the race after the rain delay from that point forward. And from
I don't think it started before the rain delay. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. I don't quite remember.
Well, no, I jumped on and it was like 30 to go.
Oh.
So I was gonna say if they change the race length to 30 laps, then that's not right. But no, I jumped on with 30 to go, and they had a little bit of a rain break. Apparently the Air Titans never even had to go onto the racetrack. It was kind of just more like a mist. So we go out there afterwards, and Justin Allgaier's up front, and he's trying. They think rain is coming, so he's trying to stay out there to win the race. And this is something I want to talk about kind of in depth here with you, Jordan. Did you catch what he did to get the restart waived off?
I did not.
So he's on the inside, and immediately what he does is I don't remember who's on the outside of him, but he starts, I want to say it was John Hunter, but I could be wrong. He's pushing John Hunter up the racetrack and basically forcing John Hunter to go to the third lane, and he's saying to his spotter, hey, we need to switch. I chose the outside for the restart. So NASCAR flips the caution lights back on. They all reset, and he winds up staying on the bottom for the restart. But it was enough to cause them to have to push the restart back another lap.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they, on the radio, him and his spotters were like, no, I chose the outside. That's not right. I chose the outside. But my first thought, even after I heard that, was that's race manipulation. Fox was sitting there saying, hey, he doesn't want to go green. He's the leader. Rain's coming. That's what he's thinking. And granted, looking at it now, it didn't come. But it's like, in my head, I'm going, drivers have been penalized for race manipulation.
True.
So why aren't we?
Well, several times.
Yeah. So it's like, why aren't we talking about this? And and we're recording this on May 2nd. It's Thursday. So it's 2 days after when they usually have these penalties and rules report come out. So it's like, hang on a minute here. Are we really just going to take him and his spotter's word for, well, it's my lane. It's my lane. If we're going to do that, then Clint Boyer's arm really did hurt in that Richmond race, and that's why he spun out off of turn 4.
Right.
So that was something that I felt like nobody was talking about, and maybe if anybody's listening to this, they're going, well, Devin, there's a reason we're not talking about it. but still, it just kind of, it flagged in my mind that it was like, wait a minute. That doesn't seem right.
I mean, people probably aren't talking about it because obviously Allgaier did not end up winning the race. It ended up being Ryan Truex.
Right.
So,
he wound up having to come to pit road.
Was a huge shocker, right? Ryan Truex winning at Dover. Whew.
Hey, you know what though?
I'm just kidding. He won. Obviously, I'm kidding. He won last year.
I'm obviously, but I mean, Quapple put up a really good fight there, and I will say this: who was it? Was it Jesse Love? No, Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed went at each other there at the end for the race lead, and it was so funny because I'm sitting there watching the TV, and the play-by-play announcers were like, "Who's gonna give? Who's gonna give?" And they went into turn one, and I said, "They're gonna take each other out." And then Austin Hill gets loose underneath them, and I'm like, "There it is!" like they were just so leaning on each other to the point where it was like they're not making it out of that lap, you know, like, and there's a history there between the two of them, but it definitely wasn't. I would say it wasn't related to that. I think it was just good hard racing. And that's what happens. But like I said, it was just so funny. I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, there we go. Like you could just tell that it was gonna break, and they went around. But Quapple put up a really good fight there, and it just he chose the outside, I think, on the final restart, and it was just everybody was like, why would you do that? We realize that this is an aerodynamic thing where if you're on the bottom and you hug that bottom concrete to asphalt transition, nobody's going to move you. Why go to the outside? And I guess the only person that can answer that is Quapple.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I want to say an experience with the Xfinity car.
Right.
Obviously, and just Dover itself.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, he's been impressive. I mean, obviously, I think it was Richmond was his first. No, it wasn't. Was it Richmond?
I think so.
Yeah, he first was in the car and he finished top 5. So, I mean, obviously, he's been impressive so far. But obviously, there's one mistake there.
Yeah, I think. Oh my goodness, sorry. I think for me, it was kind of like the prior restart. He chose the inside. Mm-hmm. Then there's a caution that comes out, and he chose the outside. And granted, I've never raced a day in my life, only on Xbox. But when I'm racing on the Xbox, and I know there's no direct correlation when I'm holding a controller and not getting any seat vibrations or anything. But if I'm racing on the Xbox and I have the option to go inside or outside, and the first time it worked on the inside, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
True.
But I get what you're saying, though. Maybe, who knows if there was something in his car that he was like, I didn't feel like it fired off right on the inside. Who knows if he didn't feel comfortable, like if his car didn't feel comfortable going into one on the inside, like, because how many laps are they running where they're going from the wall to the bottom? Very similar to the outside lane on a restart. So, or what you said about inexperience.
Yeah, I think it could be all the above. I mean, you don't know how his car felt in certain areas of the track. You don't know. I mean, obviously, he was not experienced in the car yet, but, I mean, you don't know how his car felt on the track at certain areas and everything. So he probably just did what he felt his car was right to do.
Right. No, I agree. And like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm sitting here kind of couch racing it, but I agree with you. You know, it's probably just it's an experience, and maybe like you said, or like we agreed upon with the not knowing how his car felt, and you know, it's only he will know at the end of the day. But what did you think of the Xfinity race?
I mean, I thought it was good overall. I mean, I would say it was good overall. I mean, not if I recall, I don't think there was too many passing. Too much passing, I should say.
Too much or not much?
Not much.
Okay.
I could be remembering wrong, though. It's been a little bit. It's been almost a week.
I was going to say, I feel like maybe I personally thought the Cup race had no passing, but go on.
Oh, yeah, definitely have more passing than the Cup race, but obviously we'll get to that.
Yep.
But, I mean, I thought it was good overall. I mean, obviously Ryan Truex winning back-to-back at Dover, and it's the second time this year or second or third time, I don't quite recall. I'll look up right now, that one of the JGR's part-time drivers won in the Xfinity Series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, Truex goes from the... Truex is like... Yeah, Almirola won at... I don't know. Who won at Martinsville? Doesn't even say. I don't know.
But regardless.
John Hunter-Nemechek. So John Hunter-Nemechek won Vegas. Truex won Dover. So I think Almirola won Martinsville. So that's 3 part-time drivers for JGR that have won this year, and that's not too shabby for JGR.
Yeah, not bad at all.
When I say part-time, obviously John Hunter-Nemechek's full-time in the Cup Series, but he's part-time in Xfinity.
Yeah, no, it's definitely for Joe Gibbs. It's good. You know, I don't want to reference colleague racing, but trophy hunting is a real thing. You know, like we're gonna go out there, we're gonna run the race, and let's load up the trophy case. You know, not to mention, as I think it might have been Eric Almirola or somebody else who runs part-time said, it doesn't hurt to win. It doesn't feel bad to win. You know, like you're going to go out and you're going to race and you're going to win the race and it's going to be awesome. So, yeah. No, I think it definitely overall was a good race. Like I said, I saw in full the final 30 or so laps. I did go back and watch the highlights, but I think overall it was a good race. So, for the first time in what feels like forever, Dover actually had a race on a Sunday that was sunny and 75.
Yes.
But
I will say though, actually, I want to make sure of this because I forgot who won the ARCA race. So
I don't even think I mentioned
Connor
it.
Zilic. So
Yeah.
Connor Zilic did. I forgot. But go on.
No, I was going to say I don't even think I noted that. So, yes, Connor Zilic, by the way, won the ARCA race. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, so the Cup race in general, I mean, it was good. You had comers and goers. You know, you had drivers who, you know, were dominating but not. You know, like I said, comers or goers. And then the end of the race, from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jordan, good battle between Hamlin and Larson, and it results in Hamlin winning the race.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, that's just short track racing at this point. I mean, all Hamlin pretty much had to do the whole way was aero block Larson.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Obviously, he did pretty good at. I'm not saying but I mean, he did great job at it. I mean, that's what you have to do, and it's already tough passing on the short track package anyway, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Hamlin did a great job holding off Larson, and it leads to yet another JGR Cup Series win, and Denny Hamlin's 3rd win already this season.
So Larson came out after the race and said that he doesn't, and I'm loosely quoting this, folks. So if I'm saying this incorrectly, at least you'll understand the point of it. More or less, he doesn't think that, you know, they should have the digital rear view, and that would help with the ability to block, right? Because you just mentioned aero blocking. With these cars, all you got to do is block, and you don't even have to touch the other guy. You just got to take his air away, and the car stops, right? So, So here we are with aero blocking, and Larson believes that if we didn't have the digital rear view, it would be harder to do that. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's definitely interesting when you think about it. I mean, I personally don't know because obviously I've never driven an next-gen car. Larson would know obviously way more being in a car like that. But I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from. It's not, I mean, I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I kind of have the same feelings. I mean, and I I listened to Door Bumper Clear this morning, and great podcast, great show this week to them. But listened to them, and they brought it up, and I was just like, huh. That's a thought. Because I mean, if you think about it, the digital rear view is kind of like your rear view backup camera on your car. It's a camera on the back bumper, giving you this, let's say, almost 180-degree view off the back bumper. So all you got to do is just look at this and see, here comes Larson, and you just got to make the adjustment. Whereas before the next gen car, you were looking at the actual mirror, and you were trying to judge off the actual mirror. And I did a little research just to kind of add a little context to this, because I wonder if there are people out there right now listening to this going, why do they even have a digital dash, like digital rear view? And it's twofold. One of them is more legitimate than the other, but the first one that's not so legitimate is that almost every car on the road has it, right? A digital rear view. Some cars actually have it where your rear view mirror is half a camera and half an actual mirror, or video feed, I should say. But the other one that NASCAR came out and said, this is why we're doing this, is because of the support bars and everything inside the race car that make it very hard to see through out the back. So that's why they wanted to offer their drivers this option. This way they had a clean view out the back of their car. So I don't know how to really feel, to be honest. I think it's one of those things where you're kind of like, that's a thought. But I just don't know. I mean, coming from Kyle Larson, too, who drives everything under the sun,
Right.
It's kind of like, all right, well, does that works for Kyle? But let's say another driver who's never run an X-Gen car, is he going to get in the car and go, what the heck? I can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Door Bumper Clear guys were like, well, maybe it means they're going to get a raise in their salaries. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thought when you think about it, and it's, I don't know. But yeah, so I think overall the Cup race itself was really good. Very happy for Dover, Delaware fans that they got a nice sunny race. I'm trying to think of what else happened during the race. What are your thoughts on the race overall as a whole?
I mean, obviously. Oh,
Sorry, repeat that. You cut out on us.
the Xfinity race, there wasn't much passing. Like you got your track position from pit road.
Mm-hmm.
But it's ultimately how Denny ended up winning, because he was running top 5 all day. He finished in the top 5 in both stages, but he got out in front from that one time off pit road, and he had to lead the rest of the way. Right. Other than the green flag pit stops, but she ended up just cycling through back anyway.
Right. Yeah, like I said, that kind of goes along the lines of the comers and goers. I'm scrolling through NASCAR's Instagram right now to see if there are any main highlights. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, it was a good race, and happy to see that. Happy to see that Dover had such a really good sized crowd.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good thing to see as well. I mean, granted, it usually looks not too bad on a Monday, but obviously we haven't really had to go off a Sunday in a while. It feels like because it feels like they always get pushed to Monday.
Right. I mean, it's awesome to see for sure, because it's just like you said, it's hard to judge off Monday races or weather races that are just going to be rainy, but it was great to see, because as I don't remember who said it, but basically it was like, hey, when we have a situation where it's been rainy, usually the ticket sales are not that great, and to see that good sized crowd on a good weather day, I think that more or less secures NASCAR in Dover or in Delaware for a while.
Right.
And that's awesome to see. can't really pick out any other big things. I do want to say, though, one other piece of motorsports news to talk about here is Kevin Harvick will be the standby driver for Kyle Larson at the NASCAR All-Star race due to a scheduling conflict with Indy 500 qualifying. Talk to me about your thoughts on this.
I mean, obviously, we kind of knew Larson was not going to be able to practice or maybe even qualify as the 5 car at North Wilkesboro anyway, because obviously the Indy 500 qualifying and practice they'll have to go through. So it's just a matter of who's going to take the car. Obviously, Dale Jr. was like big rumor. I don't know. You can probably throw anybody's name, David Reagan, Carl Edwards. You can throw anybody's name there, and it ended up being Harvick. And I saw something that said, when NASCAR drivers retire, they're never fully retired until they're actually done getting out of a car. I mean, Harvick's last year was this past year, and here he is just a few months later already jumping back into a Cup car. He's not racing yet, but he's still jumping back in to drive it.
Right.
Kind of like Eric Almirola. Oh, I'm going to retire from racing, and here he is part-time in the Xfinity Series and all that. Jeff Gordon, when he retired, he had to step in for Dale Jr. when he was injured, and so
yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think it's a good choice because of the people you mentioned, let's say, like Carl Edwards, and I'll even throw in like Tony Stewart and these other drivers who are recently retired, Jeff Gordon. Harvick's probably the best choice because out of maybe him and Almirola, because him and Almirola are the best choices, I should say, because they just got out of the car.
Right.
They're going to be able to jump in the car and go, okay, yeah, I feel this, But some of the comments here, I'm just reading through the comments. One person said Kyle Larson is a NASCAR driver. If he has problems with scheduling, maybe he shouldn't be running the IndyCar. Somebody responded to that saying it's an all-star race, it's non-points. Crossover is good for the sport. And then the same person commented, it's an all-star race, and you would rather qualify for Indy. They don't understand that. And if you don't mind, Jordan, I'll take the lead on this one and basically say, look, at the end of the day, you're looking at the all-star race, which he won last year. He's won, I want to say, multiple times, versus the Indy 500.
Right.
Right? Like I know what people are where they're coming from, where it's like, what the heck? You're a NASCAR driver. You need to stay with NASCAR. That's understandable. I get where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, how many times do you get the opportunity to go run the Indy 500? Unless you're an IndyCar driver.
Not only that, but to run the double, because he's obviously doing the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 6 charges the same day.
Right. I mean, exactly. Like in the last couple of years, I can only think of probably 2 or 3 that have done it. So it's definitely something that's unique and very interesting, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think that if you have the opportunity to do something like this, do it. Yeah, sure. There's a potential for a scheduling conflict, and I want to say that scheduling conflict could be if he qualifies for like the next round and makes the Fast Six, like keeps going through IndyCar group qualifying. But there's a chance that he might qualify and just be like lock in the middle of the field and be like, okay, we're good, and then he can fly out and go to North Wilkesboro, which is probably only like an hour on the plane because they're Indianapolis and North Wilkesboro aren't that far apart. But but like I could understand where, depending on how that goes, he might have to do bump qualifying, which might be on the same day, or he might be able to do the Fast Six. And the people involved are smart about this. They're well aware of how the system works, and they're just being proactive.
One thing I will say, getting off the topic of Larson, is did you hear about the Shane Van Gisbergen news with the All-Star race?
No, I did not.
So obviously he's eligible because he won the Chicago Street Race last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Trackhouse and Colleague have both told him that they're not entering a car for him.
Why?
Because no idea. Like Trackhouse obviously has the Project 91 car. Colleague also could just throw them in like the 16 car, since the 16 car is not. They can just throw them in the 16 car. They're just not doing it. So it's interesting because obviously, like I said, he won the not All-Star race, the Chicago Street Race last year. So obviously, that means he's eligible, even though he's not in the Cup Series full time. But he's, I don't know. They're just not putting him in.
So I wonder if this goes along the lines of kind of some things we've heard Denny Hamlin talking about, and follow me here when it comes to money, right? Each team has a set budget. Not a set budget, but they, as a business, they set a budget and they work inside that budget. And usually it's like we're there. It's like a town or a school. We're setting the budget for 2025 now. You know, we're not building it now. We're building it. We're not building 2024 right now. We're building 2025 and beyond. So I wonder if this is as simple as they built 2024's budget.
Well,
and then he went and won the race, and then they're like, "Oh shoot, we just don't have the resources." Like I don't think Justin Marks or Pitbull or anybody out there would be like, "You can't run." Like they're not like that. They're not those parents, you know. I think it's as simple as, and especially the colleague guys, they're trophy hunters. You know, imagine having an all-star race trophy in their case. You know, so I wonder if it's as simple as they just they don't have the room in the budget to be able to go build another car.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, because I know us here at DP, or myself at DPPG, we deal with that all the time. Hey, can you cover this game? Well, are you going to pay us to be there? No. Well, then we don't have it in the budget. You know, and granted, I build my budget as we go. You know, I don't build out a year in advance, but like, I just wonder if it's that simple with the race teams. You know, they just didn't have the wiggle room.
No, exactly. Because obviously, both Trackhouse or Colleague would have to, build another car.
Right. I mean,
because, when you have, Trackhouse only does their Project 91 cars on road courses, so.
I mean, and not to mention, you know, and there are probably people out there going, "What? They don't have a car built?" Well, they probably do for another racetrack. Like, I mean, you could probably put a Martinsville or a New Hampshire car at Newark's Wilkesboro and it would run okay. But, like, here's the deal. Let's say his New Hampshire car, I don't think he's running the Cup race in New Hampshire, but let's say his New Hampshire car, they put it on the racetrack and he gets in an accident. Well, what are we doing with New Hampshire now? You know, so I think people need to understand that as well. Although we don't fully have the information, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what the situation is, but I think people need to understand that at the end of the day, it's probably a business decision, and it stinks, but it is what it is. So, it definitely is one of those weird situations, though, and I wonder if it is as simple as what I just said with the business decision. If you're going to have like a Trackhouse or a Colleague now put that in the 2025 budget,
yeah,
plus one race for a race car, like whether it be an all-star race or playoff race or something. Like let's budget for 37 races instead of 36. But yeah, it's definitely weird.
Right.
So, any other thoughts on the Cup race, by the way, at Dover? I know we kind of quickly touched on it, but what are your thoughts?
I don't have anything else, no.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it was a really good race. I think, you know, one of the other storylines that kind of came for the weekend, I think it was Jimmy Johnson or somebody had come out and said that they need more practice time. And again, I heard about this through Door Bumper Clear. Got to give credit where it's due. And one of the things is, back in the day, we used to have back-to-back practices, right? You'd have like an hour, then you'd have Xfinity practice, and then you'd have another hour. Now it's like 45 minutes. And one of the things that one of the guys from DBC said was that if you want to do any major adjustments to your car, you need more than 45 minutes. So if you have only one practice, you're not doing anything. So it brings up, though, the question of practice time. Do we need more practice? Do you think we need more practice? Or do you think we're good with what we got?
I mean, I'm sure the drivers would love more practice. I think that's always a big topic of discussion, because like the super speedways, they have no practice, and then every other track they have just 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously, I mean, you guys obviously learn a lot every lap you do, probably, but at the same time, I mean, there's not much to really talk about with just 15-minute practice session.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, you can. One of the things that they was said on the DBC show today was like, if you had, let's say, 2 45-minute practices, you had one on Friday and then Saturday. This way, if let's say we have a race car and we want to change all the springs and shocks or whatever, we can do that overnight and be ready to rock and roll for the next practice. But then, it goes back to what I kind of touched upon earlier with the budget thing. NASCAR really was doing their best to say, hey, we're going to save the team's money, which is fine, but unfortunately it cost the entertainment side of the series. I had a conversation today with somebody at work when I remember being a kid, driving every day when I was like 7 or 8 in September, my grandfather would pick me up from school, and we would drive down to Loudon when it was race week, and every day would be something new. Oh, the merchandise haulers are here today. Oh, the driver haulers are here now. Oh, there's the RVs. Oh, this, oh, that, all the way up to race weekend. Now, if you go down there on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, you wonder if it's race week. And then all of a sudden, now on Thursday and Friday, everything's getting moved in. And it's like, what? I mean, we went down there last year and we were walking around like the place was wide open on Tuesday. Like
right.
NASCAR, like I said, NASCAR did what they wanted to do, did what they did in an effort to save the team's money. Makes total sense. But at the same time, you're not only cutting back the weekend for us race fans, but also you're cutting back the entertainment. Oh, well, people don't want to watch practice. I bet people do.
You're right. Exactly. No, exactly.
I mean, I remember going to the practices in July at Loudon, and yeah, maybe there were 200 people in the grandstands, so it looked like it was nobody in the grandstands. But guess what? That was still 200 people buying merchandise, buying concessions, still spending money. And sure, maybe you only had like 10,000 people watching on Fox when they had practice, but guess what? That's still 10,000 people watching your advertising. I don't know.
I don't know either.
And it is what it is. I get it, trying to save the team's money, and less practice time means less wear and tear, less fuel spent. Like, I get it, but like, I don't know.
You don't want to get it at the same time.
Well, like from a business mind, I get it, but from a fan point of view, it's not great. So
No, I get that.
It is what it is. Like I said, we're going to kind of keep this show short here, but looking ahead, Kansas, what are your thoughts going into the race here this weekend at Kansas?
I think it's going to be a battle between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson again.
Wasn't that the way it was last year?
Yep.
Should be good. I think those two are they're friends, and I think they also race well, and I think it really is Hendrick Motorsports versus Joe Gibbs at the moment.
I would just say it's Toyota versus Chevy because don't forget 2311 has a race win this year too.
Sorry, I kind of wrapped them into Joe Gibbs. But yes, you're right. Toyota versus Chevy. I mean, Ford's kind of out in Mustang land and trying to figure out what they need to do next to get speed. But I mean, then you've had like Ryan Blaney and Noah Gragson who are like, and Chase Briscoe who have runs in Fords, but they just can't seal the deal. So it's kind of weird when it comes to that topic. Not to sidetrack us, but when you think about it with the Fords, we sit here and say, "Uh-oh, maybe they need to get going. Maybe they need a redesign. Maybe." But then you look at it and it's like the same 5 drivers are having success. And I'm not saying that it's because Ford's favoring those guys, but it's like maybe it's not just the car. So hopefully they figure it out. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Larson, Hamlin battle, Toyota versus Chevy again. I mean, 2311 Racing's won at Kansas. Bubba Wallace Jr. won at Kansas. So hopefully, it's a good race, and I hope that we have multi-lane racing. That's what I really hope.
That's what we can all hope for.
We can all hope for. Hey, so looking ahead, who do you pick? Who's your picks? Give me
Denny Hamlin.
Okay, I was going to say give me your top 3 picks for the win, but okay, Denny Hamlin.
Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and top another one in there. I mean, I'll go with Tyler. No, I'll go Bubba Wallace.
Really?
Yes.
Not bad. I was gonna go Wallace or Tyler Reddick, so I'll take Reddick just so we're different. Who else? I want to say Kyle Busch is gonna have a good weekend. He's in the past he was good there. So I'll go Kyle Busch, and just to kind of throw a long shot out there, I'm gonna say Joey Logano. He's won there before. Historically, when the Matt Kenseth versus Joey Logano matchup started, but he won there before, so I think he can maybe be the one to break the Ford headlock, whatever. So yeah. Any other thoughts here, Jordan? I know we're not rushing, but we're keeping it short this week. But any other thoughts?
I don't have anything though.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. We definitely, folks. Here's the deal. I know we're kind of rushing, and I hope people at home are not going, "What the heck?" But like, Jordan's graduating next week. He's got a lot going on, obviously. If you live in New Hampshire, you understand that the outdoor sports season has not been exactly great. But at the end of the day, him and I have just been super busy, and we feel like we need to just keep the consistency going with trying to keep a show going. And unfortunately, when we wait till Thursday, or not wait, but when we can finally get to the show Thursday, it's kind of like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So we'll do our best.
I'm also now getting ready for the season opener for the Modified Racing Series, which happens in just 2 days on Saturday. So.
Wait, I forgot to bring that up. Right, MRS this Saturday, New London Waterford Speed Bowl. So he's got stuff to talk about on Monday.
Yep.
And with that being said,
I'll say it now. I mean, I told you, Devin, so you already know what I'm going to say. Is obviously a lot of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour drivers tend to drive their modified or other modifieds when the Wheel and Modified Tour isn't going on a said weekend. And July 6th, when the MRS goes to Star Speedway over in Epping, we have gotten word that we have at least one Wheel and Modified driver confirmed in the field, Woody Pitcat.
Woody Pitcat, nice.
Not a full-time guy, not necessarily a full-time guy in the Wheel and Modified Tour, but it's someone that's a name that a lot of the New England race fans definitely know.
So he's going to run at Star Speedway when?
July 6th.
Nice. Okay. Cool. No, I'm excited. That should be awesome. I'm going to try and get to some of those racetracks with you, and also just enjoy some racing in general. But yeah, so MRS this Saturday, getting going. Good luck. PA announcer for the Modified Racing Series, Jordan Jenkins. Woo!
Leaving my campus at like 7 a.m. Saturday.
Welcome to the real world of working. You're going to love it. But yeah, no, so what we're going to try and do, by the way, folks, going forward is record the show on either Monday or Tuesday. Jordan obviously has another week of school, and then his schedule should kind of open up a little bit more. This way we can plan on like every Monday at this time to get the show out by Monday night or Tuesday morning. But yeah, so we're hoping to get into a little bit more of a consistent rhythm for from either next week or the week after out. And then we'll just see how it goes. But like I said, we apologize if there's ever a point where it's kind of like, what are we doing? Are we rushing? And it's like, we're not rushing, but we're just doing our best to try and get an episode out. This way we stay somewhat relevant in your lives. You know, really, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
But, yeah, so Jordan, if there's no other final thoughts, I want to say good luck this weekend in Connecticut. Definitely.
Thank you.
Make sure to, speak clear and loud into the microphone. But, yeah, good luck there. Excited to hear about it when we do next week's show. And obviously, let's enjoy Kansas and hope for a good race, no rain. And we'll talk to you next week. All right. I think I lost Jordan here. Don't forget, follow us on social media. I didn't. All right. Don't forget, follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, add us on the podcast platforms of your choice. Jordan, thank you so much for spending part of your afternoon with me here.
Of course. All right. Love to every time.
Well, for Jordan Jenkins, I'm Devin Postlesny. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Racing Hotspot.